as things have been happening with DMC and other things, you read letters to the editor, or people will call up here and often will say, it's always the same people. There's always the same people in all these groups. It's the same people making these decisions. It's the same people. And I always shout at the newspaper or yell at the radio, well, then call the mayor.
And volunteer to be on with us.
You are the person, when you were talking about what you're doing with the regents, on a much smaller and more enjoyable scale, I'm sure, you are the person who does take all the same people and hopefully as many new ones as you can get to be part of these committees that help make decisions in Rochester. And we were talking earlier about the new council member, Nick Campion, that he was on one of those councils.
He currently is on the planning and zoning, which he has to step off of that now. So, yes.
So, explain that to listeners. I always say if people only knew, if they would stop complaining and actually just call and show up, they could be part of it, too.
You got to apply. That's part of it. We rarely, and I can't say we never do, because there's been a couple times like police civil service or even fire civil service where it's only 3 people and we don't get anybody, and then we'll start I've done that a couple times to call and say, would you be interested in this? If you are, apply so we can do an interview. That is something that came up during the campaign, too, is that we get the same people. And so between myself and Donna, my associate, we said, can you think of any that we've got the same people that are on different boards? Well, I could come up with 3 names, 3 people, and I'll just say one of them. Paul Scanlon is one. He was on Civic Music, and then he moved over to the Park Board. Right. So he's been on 2 different ones, but
he was on the school board, and he's
over 1,000 people in these 12 years, and we'll have openings again. So look in the paper or just go online. You can see where we've got openings. Apply. I generally interview everybody that applies, and we try and get balance on that. And technically, even though the city charter says the mayor appoints, there's another line that says with the consent of the council. Mm-hmm. So it's always got to come to the city council yet for them. And I'm still batting 1,000 on that. They haven't thrown anybody out that I've brought forward. But it's, we're fortunate that we have that kind of interest. And the other thing I say, there's kind of a statistic. When I first was mayor, I knew way over 50% of the people that came in to interview for a board. Mm-hmm. Now it's lucky if I know a quarter of them. Oh. And that's just the growth that we've had, too, and the different folks that are coming forward as well. So it is that time again. We've got people that are openings again. I know we've got some reappointments I think we've got to do and so on and so forth. So.
Have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Safe travels if you go with a football game that might be going someplace warm to play a game.
That would be great.